Several Cal football players, too, speaking of COVID, are going to have to miss tomorrow's game because they are now under COVID protocol.
That team is taking on Arizona. Crown 4's Will Tran is live at UC Berkeley with the latest. Good morning, Will.
They will not be boarding the plane today because they will be under COVID protocols. The school is not saying that the players tested positive for COVID-19, just that they could be do some contact tracing. We do know that the game is not being played here. They are playing the game in Arizona, but they want to make sure that the players who take the field will be okay. So they will undergo tests to make sure that they are negative, just to protect each other and also their opponent. As far as what happened, they're not going into details to the point where they're not mentioning the name of the players or even their position to protect their privacy. But the school says that the team itself, 99% of their players have been vaccinated. They're not saying if these players, even though it's under COVID protocols, whether or not they've been vaccinated or not. But it looks like they will monitor the situation, perhaps even self-quarantine. Remember, guys, this is college football, so not only are they playing on the field, they're in the classroom, so they want to make sure that the students are safe as well. So they're going to monitor this situation. The timing is kind of coincidental. I know, Daria, you like sports, and James, you follow sports as well. The timing is coincidental because Cal's most famous former player, Aaron Rodgers, well, he tested positive for COVID-19 a couple of months ago. He said that he was vaccinated. It turns out he wasn't, so he's facing a lot of backlash. So a lot of people are saying that perhaps he should be suspended as well and that the team should be fined and even have their draft picks removed. As far as this situation, we're not exactly sure if these players are vaccinated or not, but this is college football, maybe not as dramatic as the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers obviously being an icon, but the timing is pretty coincidental.
But also, Will, are you saying he said he was vaccinated and he wasn't, but he didn't, like the Sharks player, remember, show a fake card or something like that?
Right.
Oh, he's being killed because in that news conference with Aaron Rodgers, he was saying, but there are other players on the team that are not vaccinated, and he respects those players. So he played around with words, and right now a lot of people are watching Roger Goodell to see whether or not he will lower the boom on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers as well. College football, they're more on top of the situation as far as their players. There's no Aaron Rodgers walking around doing things and almost the tail that wags the dog, so to speak.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot, Will.
All right. It is